Gary, before we get to talking about your project, the lithium project you've got in Argentina, I want to understand first, how long you personally have been working in this area throughout your career?
Well, I'm reaching now 40 years in project generation and working in this industry, primarily in Argentina. We've been there since 1997. We've made some very good discoveries there. We've got the Los Azules, which we sold to McEwen Mining. We've discovered the Mariana Lithium project recently, which we sold to Ganfeng Lithium, and we've done a lot of really good things in the project development around the world. Those are just the two in Argentina, but we've done diamonds in the Northwest Territories. We're first movers there, and and now, like I say, I think we're definitely in the first mover status in Brazil with rare earths.
Well, yeah, we will have that lithium project in Argentina, but let's talk about Brazil, right? Because in a way, this is a massive shift for the company. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
No, we, as a project generation company, we're always looking for what is the next commodity, and I think that is really the key. And we've looked at rare earths. We've done a lot of investigations on rare earths, where to find them, where's the next place to look for them. There's very similar to what we had problems with in lithium. There was no advanced lithium projects back in 2008 to 10. So you had to create them. You had to do good old-fashioned geology, go out and generate new projects. We're finding the same thing here in rare earths. And we were able to put some of the geology together, the 2 and 2s, the right equations all of a sudden started poking up here in Brazil, and in particular, Piauí province, where there is rare earths on either side in either states, but none discovered in Piauí. So we're pretty excited about that. We were able to find all the right geology, and lo and behold, we actually have some very good rare earths there. And also, we were applying that same the footprint around the world, and we have some other ideas that as a project generation company. The world's our oyster, and we're going to keep on finding things around the world and not just be pigeonholed in Brazil.
And what's important is, of course, finding it, but having that support from the countries that you're in. I understand that there's a diplomatic thaw happening right now between Brazil and the States. The U.S. wants to secure a partnership beyond China. As Washington looks to friend-shore critical minerals, I'm curious if your first power position here in this district in Brazil gives you essentially in the crosshairs for strategic funding.
Well, we're certainly hoping that that's the case. We were quite surprised at of Trump's announcement, going into meeting with the president of Brazil, and primarily for rare earths. And keep in mind is that Brazil is second in the world for a resource on rare earths, but yet it's been really hampered with its development. It has not had any development, but yet it's number 2 to China for rare earth reserves. So it is interesting. There's no surprise that the U.S. President was there, and we're there, and I think we have definitely the first mover status in the one province, and again, we're really excited and optimistic, on what's going to happen.
I do want to take a moment to talk about the lithium project as well. Are you essentially, with lithium prices where they are, finding a floor in early 2026 here, is the plan to hold your lithium project in Argentina as an optionality play, or are you still looking to test what you have so far this year?
Yeah. Well, we're realistic. With the price of lithium being low, it's obviously not in our best interest to further advance it at this point in time. I do think as a project generation company, you go where you can actually create the value today, and for our shareholders. And that's what we're doing with the rare earths. I think, we were very fortunate on generating a brand new lithium area in Argentina outside of the lithium triangle. And, we're convinced it's there. It just needs to be drilled, and it will be drilled in time. Whether we do it or we sell it to a strategic partner, as we've done in the past, But at this point in time, the time is not right. But the time is right for our rare earths.
Well, I think that it's really good a really good sign to see a team pivoting, adapting to the market. So I believe this is a really good update. My last question to you is, your entire career, we went over it a little bit, but specifically defined by early entry assets, Windspear, Kodiak Copper, before the rest of the market caught on. When you look at the risk reward profile between the lithium and the rare earths play, how does this setup compare to your big wins of the past?
Well, again, we're early days. I think this is right at the same level as we were when diamonds, you had to educate the market what diamonds were and how to explore for them. We had to educate people on copper exploration. We had to do the same thing. We're doing the same thing now on rare earths. But again, what comes is, as the market evolves, the investors start to understand a little better. But I think this could be one of my biggest hurrahs as far as rare earths. And I use rare earths, are pivoting to rare earths. I also include things like antimony. We were looking at stuff in Portugal. We're looking at other elements. We're looking at stuff in Africa.
Rare earths is where you'll be. That's the main message here that I'm taking away.
That's correct. Yeah, and I think that's our next push. We have a lot of good ideas with rare earths, and I think gold is seen its rise here, and it keeps on going. But at the same token, if you want to go and buy a gold property, this is the worst time in the world, the time to be going in and trying to buy one. And so rare earths are coming up very quickly as number two. I think we're very fortunate to have a good portfolio today on rare earths and a lot of good ideas to exploit here in the near future.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more out of Origen. Gary, thank you for being here.
And thank you for having me.